All right, welcome back, guys. It was bound to drop, and yes, I wasn't gonna go a full week without hooking you guys up with a pocket change market report video. This time for July 20th, 2022. Welcome back. Hope everyone's doing well, and hopefully you guys are finding some treasures of your own. So we're gonna talk about some of these treasures that people are finding going through change, coin rolls. You know, there are even people that cherry pick some of these off of eBay and some other online sites, social media, Facebook, and also cherry picking off of your local coin shop because, you know, some dealers just don't care about some of the coins you're going to see here today. But yeah, a lot of great opportunity, a lot of coins to find that you could make a few bucks on or enhance your collection on the cheap. But you're going to see that a lot of the coins, you know, have quite a bit of value, more than you probably think you know. And this is no exception. 2022 coinage has been exploding with a lot of great stuff. And we have some confirmed sales of some killer man thriller or Wilma man killer quarters. So some pretty neat, relevant errors. I did talk about it last week, and sure enough, we got some realized sales on not only the retained CUD piece, the new discovery, but also a few other coins that you guys probably have never seen yet for the first time ever. You're going to see it here today, my friends, on the good old Pocket Change Market Report. So a few little ground rules to cover. We don't talk about graded coins. Why spend all the extra money to grade your coins when, you know, theoretically, you don't need it. All right? It's going to be way too expensive. And your coins will certainly sell for themselves, whether it's that marquee variety, that double to die, RPM, transitional, or any sort of error. All right? They will all sell for really good money raw. And you're going to find that grading them won't make a difference whatsoever. Second of all, we're going to be looking at the best and worst images direct from the listings. I didn't doctor anything up. I didn't fool with anything. You're going to see the pictures that people are using to make their sale. You know, some people have really set the bar really low. And of course, there's going to be a few people that have set a really high standard, which is fine. You know, nothing wrong with pictures that are close to perfection. You could certainly do whatever you need based off of your capabilities for getting your eBay listings right. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right in. We have quite the list here that covers the last 24 to 48 hours worth of auction listings. How about we kick it off on quite a nasty looking $1 bill here. So there's a few things going on. One in which is an actual error. The other is, well, damage. So why not start with the error? You can see that there on the bottom left-hand corner. This is what they call butterfly fold. So there is actually a corner fold to the sheet, and it was printed over. So you have both the front and back images on one side of the note. This is pretty cool. But you'll see there on the bottom right-hand corner that omission of paper is actually damage. That's what they call a paper pull or a tear of the surface. You know, we see these on occasion. It's unfortunate, but those type of things will affect value. All right, so we look at the back of the note there. You'll see the area there on the bottom right-hand corner, which is that butterfly fold. So a BEP employee did not check the sheets to make sure they didn't have these folds there on the corner. This particular note right here is in decent shape in spite of that paper pull. Did sell for $135. So I'd say that's a relatively solid sale. For me, I don't like having problem notes like this. I probably would have sold it as well. All right, now we're on to coins. 1985p Roosevelt dime here exhibits some pretty decent clash dies. It's most notable there in front of Roosevelt's face in the field area, but if you look on the reverse as well, you're going to see areas of clashing. This is not the strongest clash dies that I've seen of a Roosevelt dime, but hey, this one ain't bad either. And again, if it fits in your collection and you want to keep it, yeah, that's fine. But if you want to sell it, it does carry a pretty good chunk of value with it as well. This one ended up selling for $24, and not too bad. The coin itself is in really nice shape. I would say, yeah, it's probably a brilliant uncirculated piece. It has lots of luster and just a really good looking coin here. The next one that we have here is a really well off-center struck Roosevelt dime. Now, this one is a coin that exhibits no readable date, unfortunately, but it is 90% silver. You know how I know? You could see the mint mark on the reverse next to the base of that torch. And this one right here is probably, if I had to guess, 65% off-center, give or take. Again, these are widely collected, especially when you go beyond the copper nickel clad generation of coinage. So this is going to be a 1964 or earlier, which is relevant to collectors of this type. This one ended up selling for $155, which is one of the highest values of this particular era on a pre-65 silver I have seen in quite some time. The condition is nice. It's just crazy to see this kind of sold value for a coin that has no readable date. All right, our next piece of currency here comes in the way of a 1988 $1 bill. And this note is in actually fantastic shape. Very little wear, as you can see. But this particular note, on the front, looks like there's nothing going on. The serial numbers look okay. There's nothing fancy about it. There's no misalignment whatsoever. But when we look at the reverse, ooh, I love these. This is a back-to-front wet ink transfer. All right, so where they call it an offset. So this is kind of like the paper equivalent to a die clash. All right, so there was some contact made between the impression cylinder and the plates without a sheet in there. So it's going to have a little ink on the impression cylinder, and that is going to transfer on to any subsequent printed notes as a form of a reverse image style of printing on there. Always popular. This one actually quite a bargain at $99.99. I've seen quite a few of them sell for about $125 to $150. So, and this one's in really nice shape too, and it's 100% fully transferred on the reverse of this note. All right, well, be on the lookout for things like this. It's quite minor of an error, but, it's worth talking about. This is a 1921 Morgan dollar, pulled straight from a melt bin. This one has there on the 9 o'clock position, if you're looking at the front of the coin, a little bit of a clip, a rim clip right on there. It's nothing really to write home to mother about, but it is a mint error. And when we're talking about old, the 100-year-old coins and up, they are certainly neat. They will add a little bit of value. So the seller did mention that there was a few scratches on the coin, which actually might give this one a details grade if it was sent to a grader like Annex or NGC. So I probably wouldn't send it to them. It was just a really good call to sell this raw on eBay. This one ended up selling for $41.97. While not a staggering premium, it does enhance the value of a junky 90% silver coin by about maybe 30% higher value. So that's not too bad. Again, you take them as you can get them. All right, 2022 coins are very well represented in this week's show. Here's a 2022 Lincoln Shield cent. It looks to be a little bit of a scratch there on the obverse, but not really. What we're dealing with here is a pretty cool strike through. Could be a struck through bristle, could be a struck through wire piece, wire bristle, maybe from a brush or something to that effect. It could be anything, but it's that impression right there is not a scratch. You don't see the buildup of the material on either side of the anomaly. It's just an impression right into the coin. These, I have found a few of these on much newer coins. I found a few of them on 2021 Lincoln cents, which just goes to show you that, the U.S. Mint has not sorted out any quality control whatsoever. So you're going to continue to see these for the foreseeable future. Really good looking example that ended up selling for $25 with 11 total bids getting up to that point. So make sure you're looking out for these. Do not overlook them. I know it can be a little bit boring to look through just nothing but 2022 Lincolns. But guys, fellas, ladies, this is the type of stuff that you could pull out of here. If you could sell them for between $20 and $30 a pop, my goodness, why not do so? That's pretty good extra cash. So the talk of the town last week is the new Man Thriller retained cud errors. And we've seen two variants of this coin. Here is the earlier state progression of this particular error with some additional goodies to it. Now you'll see that this one has that obverse retained cud over the word liberty. You'll see that there are some of the devices still being struck up, even on the piece that cracked apart. But you'll also see quite a bit of strike through on this. So you're going to see a lot of strike through grease on both sides of the coin. And this is, a really nice coin to find right now. Now, this one was sold out there with a buy it now listing of $100 plus shipping. And I really don't think the seller knew what they had or how much its value was, because there's been no other ones that have sold up to this point. This one sold for $103.50 as a quick buy it now hit. Wish I would have seen it. It would have been mine by now, but it is what it is. There will be more. We'll see just how many more here in the near future. More on this coin here later in the show. All right, always look at some of the older coins because, their quality controls back then at the Mint had no filters, okay? You just expect everything and, just watch it fly. Here's an 1864 Indian head cent with a pretty substantial 160-degree counterclockwise rotated die error. Wow, this thing is a beauty. And, you have to be really looking out for these and know what to look out for it to be worthwhile. The coin's in really nice shape. I would say it's probably like a VF20, maybe a VF25. You do have some of the letters and Liberty still present. This coin ended up selling for $39.69 with 13 total bids this time around. Now here's just a really good looking 2-coin lot of curved clipped coins. We have, of course, a 1966 Washington quarter and a bicentennial. Both are Philadelphia minted examples, and both of them have some sort of Blakesley effect. So this opposite edge flattening from where the clip is always something you want to be on the lookout for. But if you don't see it, it does not preclude this error as being fake. All right, there are some coins, some clips that you'll come across that just doesn't have that Blakesley effect, and that's okay. This kind of helps kind of seal the deal as far as its legitimacy. If you're ever kind of curious about buying one or selling one, there are certain things to be on the lookout for. But we do know bicentennial quarters with errors on them are always quite hot. The reverse of the coins, again, very nice 2-coin set here. I would say they're both around AU 58, mid-state 61-ish type of grade, and this 2-coin lot ended up selling for $19.99 with 2 bids. Now here's an undated Lincoln Memorial cent. It looks like 1990s. There's barely any sort of evidence of a date there, but this coin right here was struck through I would say a little bit later stage capped die. All right, so the die had a little bit of a hat on it, and it was striking all these other coins, and just really not striking any devices on the obverse at all. The thing you'll want to keep an eye out on is that the reverse is going to be well struck, while the obverse is not. All right, whereas with maybe a strike through grease, you're going to see a lot of the weakness on both the front and the back of the coin. This one right here sold for $30.25 with 3 bids. I believe this is the listing where the seller did not mention at all that it was a struck through capped die. And if that would have been the case, if that would have been added in as a keyword for the search, this coin might have sold for a little bit more money. But this time around, $30.25 was the final sale price. Again, here's just a really nice other coin to look out for. And oftentimes you're going to find these older, lower grade type coins in bulk. All right. So it's just going to be a matter of going through bulk, cherry picking the best coins, and anything to that effect. This is a 1912 Liberty V nickel. Consider it a planchet flaw of sorts, maybe a lamination or a strike through. That is evident on both sides of the coin. Now, that is really neat. The coin itself is probably maybe a fine 12, and there are a few letters in the word Liberty on Liberty's crown. And this particular coin ended up selling for $21.09 with 5 bids. Me and a friend used to cherry pick these quite extensively back in the early 2000s. Liberty nickels, Buffalo nickels, and what's the other one? I'd have to say it was either like 3-cent nickels, where we were cherry picking some pretty cool errors, but there are a few of these denominations that are quite inexpensive in lower grades. And when you look out for stuff like these, they're worth a lot more now, and they matter a lot more today than they used to 15, 20 years ago. So $21.09, 5 bids. That's a really solid seller right there. Now, speaking of solid seller, how about this little ditty? In 1989, Lincoln Memorial cent, at first glance, it looks like nothing really super special. However, we have a little bit of a misaligned die. You can see that the front of the coin, the obverse, is slightly off-center, but very, very negligible amount of off-centerness to it. The back of the coin is centered, struck perfectly fine. So they call this a misaligned die. The hammer die or the obverse die was a little bit loose during the strike, so it'll do like a stutter strike, where it'll strike it, the die will shift a little bit, or it'll shift prior to the strike. It could happen anywhere along the process, but yeah, this is how minor it could be right here, while people will still see a little bit of value. In this particular case, it sold for $7.74 with 9 bids. It used to be 3 years ago, you could even give these things away. They were quite common, and today, I bet you guys are happy to know that you can achieve $5 to $10 for these, because there's still a lot of them out there. Now, how's this for an error? 2019 Lincoln Shield cent. This is actually a Denver minted coin. You can see a little bit of the D mint mark under the date. But for 2019 Denver's, they had issues. And here's one here. Struck through grease on both sides of the coin. So this is what a struck through grease on both sides would look like. And a lot of weakness. A lot of devices are missing. What a fantastic coin right here. The price tag have gone up on these. These dropped down as low as like $10-15 about a year ago, and they've rebounded quite nicely. This particular example sold for $54.50 with 2 bids getting up to that level. Here's always a good one to look out for. Now, the Stay Hook Quarter Series, had a few errors. Okay, nothing as crazy as there was back previous to the series itself, but here's a 2005 P West Virginia Stay Hook Quarter with a cut and die break right here on the reverse at about the 4 o'clock position. The West Virginias are quite common for this type. Again, you're going to look at Philadelphia minted coins. This one is an obvious circulated beater. It's not fancy, not great looking, but it is an example. This particular coin right here did manage to sell for $8.99. Much higher graded specimens will carry more value. Our coin of the month tricked you guys. And it tricked me too. 2021 D. This is a Denver minted coin. I'm just blown away. All right. It is a legit error. The coin has obviously circulated. There's just too many nicks and stuff. But this right here is a coin that is missing the nickel-clad layer on the obverse, which is just absolutely amazing. Who would have thought that you could still find things like this on much newer coinage? Well, after last year and all of the crazy errors that we've seen, from the crown die chips to the Tuskegee Airmen strike-throughs to the 2021 Lincoln cent retain cut, Oh, I shouldn't be surprised anymore. So this one was sold on eBay, just kind of out of nowhere, and I'm glad it did because this thing is a monster. Yeah, the front of the coin will be copper in color. All right, no doubt about it. It's not a coin where it's like, it's kind of coppery color. No, that's the copper core innards of the thing. Take a look at this. You can see that half the coin is copper, and the other half is that nickel layer. Again, these are supposed to be nickel, copper, nickel for the clad composition. So you guys already know this thing sold for a just ton of money. $564.80 is what this one ultimately sold for. I would say this one's deserving of a graded holder, no doubt about it. We might see it in there one day. But it just goes to show you, you never know what you're going to find out there. This is a Denver minted coin from somewhere on the West Coast or west of the Mississippi. I don't know. But make sure you're looking out for all of the oddities. You never know what kind of treasure you're going to find next. All right, well, we got more man thrillers. We got 2022, another Philadelphia minted example. This time, the coin exhibits a pretty nice die crack area, corner of mouth on Washington's profile there. Nothing new, right? But this one is quite terminal and distinguishable. Even has the interior die break piece as well. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on these 2022 coins. I just don't know how to explain it much more than that. But this one right here, not too bad. Sold for $18.58. There are some examples where there are little die chips and things that are beginning to form on the bridge of the nose. People are paying more money for those. All right, our next piece of currency is a 1963 $1 bill. All right, again, at first glance, looks like there's nothing really crazy going on here. The third print, overprint, is slightly misaligned, but again, nothing too major. But on the reverse of the note, whoa, half the printing is gone. All right, better yet, maybe 25-30% of the printing is gone. But yeah, this is what they call a insufficient ink error. So the well that holds the ink for this particular color on the reverse ran out. It ran dry. So when that happens, this is your end result. This particular note sold for $74.88 with 8 bids. So pretty nice looking error right here. And we also have a 1988A. This note is actually in pretty nice shape. I would say a really crispy high-end AU, maybe a lower mid-state example. Again, nothing too crazy on the front of the note. No fancy serial to speak of. But there's no back print. Completely left out. So, yeah, there you go. That's your error on this one. The back of the sheet never got printed. And because of that, this one sold for $184.88 with 18 bids. Pretty unlikely that you'll find these in circulation, especially on newer notes. There hasn't been any reported missing backprint notes. You're going to have to dig down deep and look at older stuff to find this, or maybe a coin dealer wants to blow it out because they just don't deal in paper currency. Be a good opportunity to add one to your collection for cheap, or to flip and make big money on. So we got another bicentennial quarter here. This time it's either a strike through or a tapered planchet. I'm going to say it's more of a strike through because you do have full rims on the obverse and reverse of the coin. So it doesn't really indicate that there's a thin area to the planchet before the strike. But you'll see again another Philadelphia coin. Beautiful. This one sold for $79.80. So I think I talked about this one a few weeks ago, and I think it was relisted and then finally sold. So I don't know what happened there. And we also have another bicentennial, this time with two very prominent curved clips on there. And again, another beautiful looking example, another strong seller, sold for $54.49. Bicentennials will be popular till the end of time. So, if you have an error, a legit error on this particular coin or any bicentennial coinage, keep in mind in the back of your head that you can sell these anytime if you need the cash. All right, this one is quite interesting. I'm just going to call it a Well, they said it's a 1942, so there must be just enough of the date that you could read through it. But this is a interesting, neat coin. Might have been. It could be either one of two things. Could have been a detached lamination long time ago that had fallen off. And the reason why I say that, it's got a hard edge here where the edge of the lamination had fallen off. But it could be a struck through lamination as well. It could be one of the two. They're all going to come relatively similar in appearance. But this is a really good catch by the seller. This one realized $32.51 with 4 total bids. And how about a little bit newer piece of paper money? This time a 1996 $50 bill with a gutter fold. Haven't seen one of these in quite a while, huh? But yeah, they do exist, and just like the unicorns of our universe, sometimes they'll pop up when you least expect them. But this one right here has a pretty nice gutter where there was at one point a wrinkle in the sheet prior to any printing going on that never got stretched out. It looks like it got stretched out before the back print was applied, because you do see the actual gutter line right there, but it's completely printed over. This note sold for $143, so at nearly 3 times face value. This is a pretty notable sale of this one. And here's also a 1946D Lincoln wheat cent, this time with a strike-through debris piece, something other on the obverse there, right in front of Lincoln's face there in the fields. So there was a foreign object or, something, a lamination piece that had fallen off of another coin and either landed on the dies or landed on the blank prior to the strike, and it has to be, seamless and quick for that to happen. This one right here ended up selling for $10, so not a major sale, but these are actually quite common out there, especially in older coins like this one. Now this one's pretty unique because you don't hear about crazy laminations on new coins. We see that a lot on much older coins, prior to 1960, but this is a Wyoming statehood quarter, 2007, Denver. Again, another Denver coin getting some love. If you look up close, you're going to see the unnatural striations that make this one a true blue lamination or Planchet flaw. Pretty neat here. Not something that you'll encounter ever. This one sold for $14.64. People do collect errors of the statehood series by date and mint mark, so this would be a good addition to that. More currency. Currency, I tell you, getting some love this week. Here's a 1981A $1 bill. It looks like it's miscut, right? But when you look at the relationship of the overprint with these serial numbers and seals, it's actually pretty spot on for the actual note size. This one looks like the first print was misaligned because the back of the note is perfectly centered. So it's not a miscut. This is a misalignment of the first process of the printing. This one right here sold for $204.80. A very, very expensive note with a lot going for it. And again, this is something that is quite rare and very, very coveted. Now, this sale was just a fresh sale here within the last couple hours. This one was available for sale on a 7-day listing, I believe, 7-day auction, and it just ended a few hours ago. But this is another coin, much like the first one we looked at the beginning of the show, 2022 Wilma Mankiller, retained cud obverse, and the strike through as well. Now, here's a comparison shot of the error on the left, and then another coin that was added as a comparison of what a perfect looking Mankiller quarter looks like. And then here's some additional photos. The best, I tell you, the previous 2 images were quite out of focus. So these 2 here ended up being relatively better. A little bit on the dark side, but that's okay. But you're going to see just copious amounts of strike through on both sides of the coin. We've theorized, myself and Paula Bloom, that it's possible that the reverse die was changed out and they slathered them up with lots of grease and never bothered to change out the obverse die, which, by the way, is the anvil die these days. So, great coin here to look out for. Again, these are being found in the state of Florida and most regions in the southeast corner of the U.S. What did this one sell for? $368.90 with 12 total bids, which is a far departure from the previous few examples that sold for under $100. Again, haven't seen one legit for sale through organic bidding, but here you go. Here's the first one. And I guess we're going to see some pretty strong sales afterwards. Here's just a lot of 4 Lincoln memorials. They're all copper-coated zincants, and they all have kind of like partial dates. You can make out the top left one there as being 1983. The bottom right corner is 1996. But again, you identify lots like this that you could possibly resell, right? Sometimes they'll sell for a cheap amount, which gives you a lot more opportunity to double or triple up your money. Now, this case, I don't think there is too much room left here. It did sell for $39.90, which puts each coin at about a $10 cost average. I don't think there's a lot of opportunity here. The coins are not in that great shape, especially the 96, which will certainly hurt its value if you decide to resell. Oh, this one's neat. It's like, a blast from the past. 1999 Lincoln Memorial cent with a little die chip that you don't see unless you go all the way back into the 50s. But this one has the BIE die chip. These do exist on later dates, especially in the 90s and early 2000s. I think there's been even a few found much later than that into the Shield series. But yeah, these are quite tough to find. They are really scarce if you're trying to actively look for them. This particular example ended up selling for $11. Keep in mind the cent is pretty well circulated. It's not a brand new piece by any stretch. And here's another update of the 2021 Washington crossing the Delaware crown die chip. You can see the die chip on top of Washington's cap on the reverse there. Again, this thing is pretty well known in the error community, and a lot of friends of the PCMR and the BlueRidgeSilverhound network know about this one. But this one sold for $74.50 with 7 bids. Looks like prices are slowly dropping on this one. We're not seeing too many over $100 sales lately, as people are focusing on the errors of 2022. Now, this one is quite cool. This is actually a 2014 D Colorado Great Sand Dunes ATB quarter with a 45-degree-ish rotated die error. Yeah, you heard that right. I have never seen one of these. This is the first time I believe that I've talked about this particular error on the Great Sand Dunes quarter, but just to let you guys know, yeah, these are out there too. Just another coin to look out for, right? Hey, I'll take the blame and responsibility for injecting all this information into your guys' heads, because this is really cool, right? Modern U.S. mint technology is not supposed to afford a lot of errors like this, but no, we're wrong. It's still very much a predominantly people-ran operation. This one right here, wow, sold for $94.64, which is a solid sale. Man, that is so good for this one. On a coin that otherwise a lot of people would overlook and just spend. Here's a 1996 P Candy $half, struck through grease on both sides. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of the ring of death on the obverse of this one. You can see that round scratch going on the inside of the coin there. This was a roll ender at one point, which caused that. But yeah, it is an error. Sold for $16 this time around. And here's another great sale, actually. Not too bad, considering 2022 P Sally Ride quarter with the clash dies. Still seeing some interest for this coin. And people are finding these. All right. These are not rare at all. All right. If you're doing any sort of measurable searching of this particular quarter, then more than likely you will find one of these. This one right here sold for $50.99 with 29 bids. These things have gone as high as over $100. So these will be bouncing around for a while. Again, the stronger the clashing, the more that they'll be worth. And a denomination and coin that you don't see too many errors on is quite nice. So this is a 1973 Ike dollar with a pretty noticeable strike through right there on the obverse. You can see it right above "In God We Trust." Yeah, I mean, this is, again, another thing in a long line of other things that, people do look out for. And when you do come across them, just know that it's not nothing. That's for sure. This coin right here, a lot of people wanted this one, apparently. Sold for $116.50. 28 total bids got to this amount, which is just nutso. It's a nutso amount of money. But I get it. I understand. And then finally, we're going to end it off on this one right here. Yeah, look at that. Another Denver minted coin on a brand new 2022 Lincoln Shield set. What else can we say? I mean, there's like opportunities and opportunities and opportunities out there for the taking. And might as well, right? This one has a die crack that goes from the rim and across through like 5 letters on Liberty. Wow. I mean, you obviously need a magnifier to look at this. And if you're not using a magnifier or one while you're cherry picking and hunting for some of these errors and varieties, then you shouldn't be doing it at all. A lot of them are not naked eye visible, much like this one. This one right here. Yeah, you're going to need something to look for it and find it. Sold for $19.25 with 18 bids. So another piece to add to the repertoire and supplement your income. Why not, right? They are out there. We're in the middle of summer. People are still spending money in spite of inflation going around. But that's going to go ahead and do it. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. This is the midweek edition of the Pocket Change Market Report. Always a pleasure. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel and video. If you haven't done so already, all of the extra support will go a long way in making sure that I continue to crank out some relatively decent content. But that's it. I hope you guys the best of luck in all of your hunts for the rest of the week. I will not be around this weekend for a PCMR on Saturday. I'll be out of town for a wedding. So, yeah, you guys are going to get another reprieve for my voice, which, ends up being 35, 40 minutes for a lot of you. But that's it. Yeah, good luck. Go ahead and get some hunting done and find yourself some treasure, and let's talk about it. All right, take care, guys.